Look, every day that they see me, they like, what's up, dude? I tell them not much, but we know it's not true. Got a to-do list that every day I gotta run through. I don't wanna small talk about it, let the work talk for me. I don't tell nobody about my secrets. Keep it to myself, cause nowadays I wanna...
Yeah, Brandon Matthew putters. These things are gorgeous, man. So
appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you hopping on the IG live. We just hopped on there, and now we've been talking for like a half an hour, so we figured might as well turn on the recording and chat with you a little bit. Bryce, how are you doing?
Good. Just watched the amazing tournament. Kind of was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and we touched on that in the live. But yeah, excited to talk about these putters, man. They look awesome.
The whole time, like the whole rain delay and everything, it was.
I mean, okay, maybe like the last 10 holes on Monday, but
it was. I watched a lot of the tournament, too much of it, but it was a lot of fun. Did you catch much of it, Brandon?
Yeah, I played yesterday at tournament, so I didn't see anything yesterday. By the time, with the time change, by the time I got home, I had to take a nap. It was like an hour and a half drive, but I didn't catch anything yesterday. But when I tuned in today, it was so funny because I didn't even know. I'm like, is today the final round or like what's happening right now? Yeah. And I saw like the top 10, and I was like, that's good. I'll watch it. And then all of a sudden, like all these dudes started coming up. And I was like, I'm like, oh, this is getting good. So I threw it on the shop TV. So I was like grinding and just over my shoulder the whole time, trying to pay attention. And then I just had to sit down and watch it. I was like rooting for three guys to win. It was very interesting, It
was cool. And like, I love when somebody like that, like Lahiri comes out of nowhere. Like I really like that kind of stuff. Like they were giving him I was saying this to Bryce, they were kind of giving him a bit of a hard time, but like he's been in the top 40 before in the world. And like, he's got some game, and like they were saying, I think he's in the 300s or something right now. Like what I would
352, I think
what I would give to be 3-something in the world, in the golf world, right? Like that'd be amazing.
Yeah, he's my sleeper DraftKings guy.
Really?
Sometimes you'll find him and he's like $6,400, right? And you're like, this dude's way better than that.
Yeah.
So
he
was good.
There's some pedigree there.
I love the underdog story, man. I always root for the guy who's like he Monday qualified, or he's a sponsor's exemption.
Yeah.
I always root for those guys. Cam Smith is hard to root against. I like him a lot.
He's awesome, man. Especially with his family coming in from Australia, seeing them for the first time in 2 years. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I was really pulling for Keegan, and then I saw him hit that one into the water on 18, and I was like, done.
I can't believe Cam Smith did the exact same thing.
Right?
The punch out. I know. I was messaging Bryce on 18. The punch out. I just like. But it made it intense. That was really cool. We like that as golf fans. We want to see that, right? Because he was kind of starting to run away with it a little bit. But Lahiri made like a nice birdie on 17. But Players Championship, biggest purse ever, $3.6 million.
It's funny how you don't want to watch when it's like a runaway like that. You're like, he's got a 6-shot lead. It's not exciting anymore. But man, it was like 10 under, 9 under, 10 under, 9 under, 11 under, 10 under. And it was just, these guys were battling out there. It was fun to watch.
How about DJ firing a 63, tying the course record out of nowhere?
Yeah, chipping in on.
I think he was on TV twice the whole time today. And
I saw him on 17
at the end, and they're like, he tied the course record 63. And I'm like, wait, what?
On his,
you never know it, right?
Yeah.
Chipped in for eagle on the final hole too. From like 30 or 40 out for a 29 on the front. He played it reverse, so yeah, that was pretty cool. But Brandon Matthew, maybe you can give us an introduction now that we're 10 minutes in here. For anybody who's still with us here, just tell us about yourself, kind of what you do, and maybe how we got connected.
It's one of those stories of just like, I never meant to really become Brandon Matthew putters, to be honest. I was doing like what we were talking about earlier. I was doing like refinishing and stuff like that, and really only because I'm left-handed, and you just you know how it is. You just can't find lefty gear, and your whole life you're frustrated. Oh, hey, I want the Big Bertha with the weight on the bottom, or the 440 head. Oh, they don't make that one in left-handed. And then it moved into like putters. So I'm like getting Scotty Cameron's. I'm like, I really like a Newport model, the rounded bumpers with a flow neck. And they're like, they don't make that in lefty. They make a Newport 2 in lefty, and maybe a Del Mar. Like, it's like they didn't make anything. And out of the 20 something they make now, they have like 3 lefty models. And it was so frustrating to me. I started, what if I took one and cut the neck off and welded, a flow neck on there. I tried that and came out really nice. And I had a real eye for keeping things like original.
Right.
So I really wanted the finishes to look original. You look at a lot of refinishers, they'll try to do like a bead blast on it or something, and they use the wrong type of media, and it takes it from that silver shine to like a dull gray. So as people started seeing that, a lot of lefties were like, hey, can you do that for me? Can you do that for me? And so I started, I'll try it out. And I was making like lefty long necks out of like TEI 3s. It was cool. And then someone's like, dude, you should start your own brand. And this is only 4 years ago, maybe. You start your own brand. And I was like, I have zero capability to even do that because I don't have a machining background at all. My background was in design and all that. I've always been a quick learner. So I would get something. I bought a welding machine and I started welding and messing around, and I got good at that. And then I kind of ran into somebody that had access to a machine, and we just, threw some drawings down, and it took months and months to get done. But eventually we had a first prototype model, and I was like, all right, this is going to be cool. This was in 2020. So like my launch date was like January 1st, 2020. And I immediately had a couple guys that like knew me. They're like, oh, I'll buy one. And I was only charging like $450 back then, which is like, that's almost my cost on half the stuff I was giving out. And then I'm like, no, there's a couple of months, few a month, maybe 10. And then all of a sudden it was like pandemic hit. And I was like, there goes my new business.
Yeah.
But really it was the opposite. It blew up from there.
Yeah.
Guys are emailing me. Oh, I just got my COVID check. How do I get a putter from you? And my followers started growing, and I really, because my background was in marketing, I knew how to push the product a little bit, right? Yeah. Everything was thought out before I even released a putter. The name, the logo, does it go on a hat? Does it go on a shirt? Can it fit on the putter face? Can it be a stamp? So I thought about all that stuff, and so as I started marketing it, it really connected with some people, and I think definitely connected with the lefties. It's just such a small market. I had to, really start pushing right-handed stuff, but it just kind of kept growing, and I think because I'm so meticulous about like what I put out, a lot of the feedback was good, and it was very interesting because I was getting, I had a couple pros, some Monday qualifying guys, some Corn Ferry guys, mini tour guys. And they were like, this is the best putter I've ever rolled. And I'm like, I've said this before. I said, I didn't reinvent the wheel when it comes to these blade putters. I went with what we know works and what people want. We went with like an answer style, a Dale head, and then like a number, like a Newport 2.
Right.
And, but, I got really good feedback, and then the word started spreading, and, I got really meticulous about my stamping, and my stamping is very unique because I go super deep. I really want it to be close and deep and very straight. And that's kind of what makes, I think my putters stand out a little bit more. Is there's a bunch of builders that make beautiful putters. They machine them well, they finish them well, some cool designs, and then they hand stamp something on there, and it just takes it from like a 10 to like a 4, because they just don't know, maybe the right way to do it, or they don't have the right type of stamps. So it's, I got pretty lucky that I was good at it, and I practiced and I ruined 50 putters trying to do things. And, I weld things shut and grind it off and restamp all the time. Cause for the amount of money that somebody's paying for one of my putters, it's like, you're not going to get something double stamped. It's just,
right.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I can't put something like that out. I've been down to the line where I've got a putter that's it's been welded, the face has been cut, all the stamping's done, and I'm going to put something in the cavity, an extra stamp, and I jack it up. And it's like, that's one of the only places, the flange line and like the back cavity, if you mess up, you're done. You just can't fix it. I can put it back on the machine, but at the end of the day, it's like, do I take an hour or two to get it all fixed up and weld, and then maybe it looks a little better, or just toss it and start over? So it's, it's a little frustrating, but those are lessons you have to learn. You gotta lose money to learn. And then it sticks in your mind. Like, what did I do last time that jacked this up, and don't do it again. So
yeah. Same thing with like any, like any company, business, whatever it is, right? Like we go through the same thing with the podcast. Like you have your struggles, and then you learn how to like get better audio and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
all hand stamping.
We do some engraving as well. Yeah. No, a lot of the, I mean, all the lettering is hand stamped.
Right.
Some guys want engraving, or they want it, machined for a more like clean, generic look. But anytime you see just like the lettering or dancing letters, that's all hand stamped.
Yeah.
So like the Texas putter that I just put out, that's all engraving, obviously. Some guys do a combo. I just sent one to the UK. It had like this really cool, I think it was like a family crest or something. I think this lion on there. So that was engraved, and then I stamped next to it. So it's just all personal preference. It's like my thing is, if you want it to look custom, you want it to look like a one-of-a-kind, one-off putter, then let's hand stamp it.
Right.
Because anybody can put a design into a machine and have the machine engrave it. So it's just, how creative can you be? So like the Texas putter that I just did, or the Vegas putter, that shows, that's like my design background, right? So it's just a combination of design skill and machining skill to get something like that. So it's still very unique, even though it's engraved. But if you want something like a 009, like that's what I get, calls the most. Hey, I want something just like, Jordan Spieth, or I want Tiger's putter. I say, let's hand stamp it. Let's just, what do you want on there? And then, I always like when the guys just say, well, I just want my initials here, and then you do the rest. Because I'll make something really cool.
You get that a lot from customers?
Not as much as I'd like, to be honest. But I mean, out of the last 50 orders, maybe 5 guys only have said, just do it. But they get really cool stuff because I make them something super unique. I don't make it generic. It still looks like my style, but I'll give them something a little extra special just for trusting me to make you something like you don't know what's coming.
For sure.
I love that, man. Like I just got a custom head cover made with our friend from like AJ over at Pioneer, great Canadian company, and he does really good work. And he said, well, what do you want? And Bryce was getting one done. And I just said, I don't know, man. Like whatever you want to do. I'm not picky. Like do whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me. I opened it up and it was like my old high school colors and stuff. It was pretty cool. It's just like completely random. He had no idea, right? But it's cool how those things turn out. The process, like the building process, Brandon, like when you go start to finish, how long does it take you? Like if you're having to scrap a putter, like how long are you in the tank for?
Well, machining, like taking it from a solid block, it depends on if it's a 1-piece or like a 2-piece where we're welding the neck on. The one piece, it's a couple hours. I think we 2 hours, 40 minutes for 2 putters to come out. Maybe it's almost 3 hours. I haven't done it in a while because we couldn't get the material. It was like, and I almost tried to go out of state to find some. We couldn't find the bar size I needed because these mills out here just stopped making. They didn't have the labor because of all the the Great Resignation or whatever. So they weren't making 303. I could get stainless. Like 304 or other types of stainless, but it's like 304 so much harder. Right. It just eats up my bits and eats up my tooling. And so I just kind of said, you know what, let's just scrap it for a bit, do single piece. But even the something that comes out without the neck on it is an hour and a half on the machine. And then it's going to like a Bridgeport like this, it's getting face cut. And then it's getting all the hand stamping. I mean,
it's actually a lot quicker than I thought, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if I dedicated like 100% of my time just to that, it's 5 or 6 hours to get something knocked out. If I'm just gung ho, head down on it. But sometimes one putter is like a couple days just because I want to write or we're changing ideas. So when I work on something for 8 hours in one day, and then the last stamp that I'm putting on it gets messed up, it's very frustrating. But I went from trying to weld it shut and try to grind it off or try to do it by hand to just saying, give me another one. You know what I mean? It's like I have the machine running all the time, so I've got heads coming off, so it's not like I have to sit there and wait for another head to be milled. I'll just go grab another one off the shelf. But it's that's $75 in material right there, in steel and all my time.
Part of the learning process.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks, but it just makes you better. If you look at my early models, they're like, you're like, oh, those are cool. But compare them to now, I mean, you can see how much I've grown, even in my hand stamping.
For sure.
So,
you know, we take it back, Brandon, a little bit. You said you had like an kind of digital background, like you were an art director, you were, you know, into digital work and stuff. Can we talk about that and how that kind of transition happened? So, you know, when you're working in that field, you had mentioned like a couple of your buddies said, oh, like you're getting pretty good at these putters, but what was that like initial part that actually got you interested in kind of going down that path, right? Like going from a very tech side to a very hands-on, or, you know what I mean? Very physical side.
Yeah. I think it's the fact that I was just so tech before that makes you want to do things with your hands. I've always enjoyed like making things and just wanting to do things, you know, and it's like, I mean, I've tried all this crazy stuff just as like hobby stuff, but I've always been very hands-on. And so when I was a creative director, I was doing, you know, a lot of computer work, obviously computer design.
Right.
And a lot of that like CAD drawing stuff, you know, translated over to like making putters out of CAD or you know, Mastercam stuff. So it's just like, it was an easy transition, I think, that way. But when it comes to like, you know, the welding and all that stuff, it's just, you have to just put the hood on and start welding stuff. I remember like the first thing I tried, I was like burning things up. I had no idea what was going on. Nobody,
you just kind of learned by making mistakes, right?
Nobody taught me what to do. And I just, you know, I like watched a YouTube video and I'm like, you know, I'm like, why is mine bubbling like this? Or why is it?
You must be, you're doing TIG welding. Yeah.
TIG welding.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a bit of a welding background. That's actually one of the trades that I did out of school, but I'm kind of the opposite, right? So I was like in automotive and welding as well. I had a couple trade certificates, and now I'm like very much into like the technical audio aspect, video aspect of like the podcast and stuff, but I still work in the transportation world. So it's like, it's a lot of fun. I get to kind of, I don't know, kind of dabble with both, but,
well, that's the fun part about mine is I get to do what I want. I want to make putters. I want to do things like that, but I also handle all the social media and the website and the marketing part of it. I mean, eventually, of course, I'd like to be big enough to where I can hand that off to somebody. I have somebody that answers emails and gets a lot of the sales and stuff going. So that's been immensely helpful, but yeah, it's nice to be able to do it for yourself and not have to like have somebody over your shoulder. Oh, let's, you know, what if it looked like that? Oh, that's not going to look good. Yeah, it's going to look great. And then you do it. Oh, it doesn't look good. Yeah, you should have listened to me. So now I just get to do it for myself. Oh, let's do this. Let's, you know, because I do all the photography and stuff too. That's kind of how I started out. I took like a high school photo class when I was a freshman, and during that year, this is like back in, I don't know, 96. Everyone was gathered around this table, you know, in class, and you know, I was like, walk up, and they've got this box like this big, like a little shoe box. And I said, "What's that?" And well, it's called a digital camera. I said, and it's like, I'm not even that old, right? But that's so crazy to say. And I was like, "What do you mean digital?" They go, "It's like a computer. It takes a picture and puts it as a file on a computer." And I was so intrigued by it that the teacher was really good. He let me he didn't make me do any film like assignments anymore. I went right to digital, messed around with that, was working in Photoshop. That translated to graphic design translated into web turned into marketing, you know, art director jobs, you know, creative director jobs, you know, coordinator jobs. And then, you know, just went up from there. It's like, it's funny to think how long I was actually doing it, because I did do a career change in the middle. I went to school in 2007 and I became a commercial pilot, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Yeah, I flew. And then what's funny is I graduated out of that academy in 2008 when the economy tanked. So all these airline jobs that we were guaranteed were just gone.
Right.
So I took like a crappy job fueling jets, and I got linked up with like a private company, and it was like, hey, if you ever need a right seat, I have a commercial license. And then just like spitballing with these guys. And one guy was like, what are you doing next Monday? Nothing. Yeah. Well, you don't work here? Nope. I was like, I'll quit. I mean, I didn't care if I could get in an airplane again.
Of course.
And then I flew with that guy for, you know, 8 years, and I flew some contract stuff after that. And then, you know, I was gone all the time. It was,
man, that's
tough
so
on
cool.
on my now wife, you know. She was, we would be, you know, planning something, and then I would get a call, and they're like, yeah, we're going to Vancouver for 9 days. And I'm just like, see you later. You know? So she wanted me back home, and I it's fine.
Man, there's good golf I hear in Vancouver. I don't know. I took a flight out there a little while back, and I got to play 14 holes in like 4 days, so it wasn't too good. But
it's beautiful there. I didn't get to play. The other pilot was not into golf at all.
Right.
He was an Italian guy, and he liked football and espresso. And that's about what we did. He'd just be,
my God, yeah, man.
When he got espressos, I was like, let's go play golf. And I bring my clubs. And we used to fly guys to Pebble, and all these corporate douchebags, like think they're good. They're all like 20 handicaps. So I'm like, I was like, guys, I go, why don't you invite me one time?
Yeah.
I said, I'll smoke your asses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that's why they never did. They never invited us out. I think they knew I was going to,
And now you're Brandon Matthews,
right.
Brandon Matthews. Sorry, Brandon Matthews has won recently on the Corn Ferry Tour. That's what I said to you. That's why I get kind of confused by that, right? But
I got tagged left and right for that guy's victory.
What a nice little shout out. You got to get him a putter, man.
I talked to him 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I sent him a DM. I'm like, dude, I go, is this a match made in heaven or what? Like, should you roll one of my putters? And he was like, I think maybe he hadn't heard of me. He's like, dude, that's so awesome. He goes, obviously I'm rolling good right now. I think he's playing like a 2-ball.
Yeah.
But I'm going to send him something. I'm going to send him like a number 2, little flow neck, and maybe he'll roll it, and maybe it gets on tour. But I'm trying to figure out how I make it like cool, because I want to incorporate my name, obviously.
Yeah.
And his name. So
just
I'm going to try to.
S in brackets or something, yeah.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I was gonna go Brandon Matthew and like a couple, brackets and like an S with like a asterisk next to it or something.
Yeah,
something.
I love that.
I don't know. We'll get
that kind of pushes me into my next question about kind of like you said earlier, how you kind of have putters coming out all the time. Do you have a certain amount of putters like in a lineup, like certain amount of designs, or is it do you kind of customize it towards what the customer wants?
They're all individual. It's,
okay.
I mean, like the lineup right now, there's, I don't know, 30 putters in line right now. And before it even comes to me, it's what model, what material, what neck type, what specs, link, loft, lie, weight, what finish. And then the design is put on a template. And so it's like when I pull one out and ready to go, once we've milled it, it gets in line. And then it's just onto the machine to cut the face, cut the weight, and then I just customize it. And everyone's different. If I have time, I try to throw something in like that I'll put like in a garage release. Mm-hmm. Everyone always like, when's the garage release? And it's just, I just haven't had time to make anything. I've got like a few that I'm going to do here. These are going to come out, I don't know, in the next few weeks. This has been like such a popular model, this Tiger Woods style, number 2. So this one's just got everything upside down. I don't know. I was just like on a weird day. So the name's upside down. The logo's upside down. 350's upside down. That's upside down.
That's a one-off though. That's a unique piece.
Yeah. I mean, because I've sold a bunch of these Tiger Woods styles, but nothing like that. So
that's so cool, man.
Somebody will pick it up.
We're in
pretty quick. So
in conversation with Brandon Matthew. If you're checking it out right now or listening to us in the car, when you get a chance, stop, go over, check out the YouTube. The link will be down below. He's in the shop right now, which is kind of a cool look. I love it. He's just showing us a couple of the putters in behind. So I wanted to ask you though, Bryce will talk gear with you until you have to go, until he has to go. I know he has to go to hockey or whatever it is tonight, but you're a published author as well too. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, sure. That's another one of my things. It's like I just get bored very easily.
We got to get Mark. Mark, you got to put a photo of the Dos Equis guy up here, the most interesting man in the world, because that might be Brandon Matthew here. But Bryce is a baseball guy too. Like we both played a lot of ball too, so cool. A lot of us golfers have, right? So I kind of like had to pick one or the other, but that's pretty cool. Can we you can talk about it a little bit?
Yeah. That was, and it was one of those. It's just so funny because a lot of my stuff comes about by accident, and it's just my personality that if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right. I want to do it the best that I possibly can and take it as far as I can. Mm-hmm. And then once I've done that, I move on to something new. And that's what worries like my wife and stuff about the putters. She's like, at what point do you get tired of making putters and move on to something else? Yeah. But this has definitely been the most successful little side gig. So, the books were cool. They were I published them in 2013. So they're called History of the Baseball, and the baseball. It's not a history of baseball itself, but really what it was, it's every baseball used in professional games since 1878, 1879, the National League, before the American League even existed. And it just started out as I was collecting a lot of Angels stuff. You know, my whole life been an Angels fan. It's just they're 15 minutes down the road. And so I was like, oh man, I found like this ball from the 1940s, and it was an American League William Harridge president ball. That's when the leagues didn't have a commissioner. Well, they had a commissioner, but they had an American League president and National League president. They don't do that anymore. And so the American League had their own ball. It was Reach was the brand, and the National League played Spalding baseballs. Now Spalding owned both, but they kept them separate for some reason. And so I was like, dude, this is really cool. Maybe I could get one from like every decade or something, or every era. And that just turned out to be the worst mistake of my life, because there were so many balls, you know, from the get-go, like some that I've only ever seen one of. And what's really crazy is I own this collection still, and I have a whole room in my office that's like it's just all baseballs and all baseball stuff. But you know, there were so many, and back then they could spit on them. They could rub them in the dirt. They could scuff them up. So there weren't a lot of surviving specimens. So the fact that I even have pictures of some is pretty cool. But the guides went from being like, and then this goes back to my design background. Like someone's like, oh, you could write some books. And I was like, had I not had the design background, there's no way I even would have tried tackling it. But because I had the ability to lay something out, take the photographs, and I was purchasing baseballs left and right and traveling to take pictures of baseballs. I went to Cooperstown, you know, I went to the Smithsonian, and I got some pictures of things that were like, I mean, the things that I've held at Cooperstown, because I was helping out the senior curator there. They had questions on years for baseballs. So when I got there, I got the private tour in like the basement, you know, the archives. I've held like Ted Williams' last home run bat. Like I've swung it in my hands. I've held Roberto Clemente's glove and his hat, and Babe Ruth jerseys, and Gina Davis's outfit from the movie A League of Their Own. I mean, I've touched and held all these things, and you know, Ty Cobb bats and balls, and Christy Mathewson baseballs. Like, not many people know who those guys are. Well, Ty Cobb, but like Christy Mathewson. It's like the things I saw were so unbelievable. It makes the upstairs where the museum is look like crap, because there's so much stuff below. But I did this chronological collecting, and I all of a sudden became like the guy to go to. Somebody had questions, and all of a sudden it wasn't like I made them for collectors, but the collectors weren't buying them. Authenticators were buying them, investigators were buying them, and it was like I went from being like the collector guy to all of a sudden the dating expert. So all these authenticators are now saying, hey, this is a Babe Ruth signed baseball, but you're saying it wasn't manufactured till 1953. And they're going, oh shit, we've got all these forged baseballs. Right. And so the FBI has my books, this, you know, Smithsonian, the Library of Congress, Cooperstown, they all have these books that they use as reference guides. And the FBI was the coolest one, because you're just like, you know, they're trying to find forgeries, and they're like using my book to date, you know,
that's insane.
That's wild, man. Cool. What a cool story. I played quite a bit of ball myself, sort of Bryce, but like, I guess my grandfather, so on my mom's side, quite a bit older, there's a photo floating around. He played a game against Babe Ruth. He was a professional baseball player, and there's just, I guess, a photo of him just like watching the ball go over his head or something. So
that's awesome.
I have to get a hold of that, because that's a pretty cool memory to have. How many you got? Totally. How many balls you got?
Hundreds.
Yeah,
hundreds. I don't even know. I mean, like, okay, so you know what's so funny is I wrote these books. It's almost been 10 years. So the American League, it's something like, I don't know, 60, and the National League, it's something like 72. So I have all those, and then just like I have every. It's like I'm an addict, right? When you start doing it, you just keep buying. I have every All-Star or World Series baseball from like 1978 when Rawlings took over. 78, 79. Each year had the year on it. Yeah. So I've got every World Series baseball since 1978. So, you know, it's like.
So this year?
Yeah, to 20. Yeah, 2021.
Awesome. I don't know what the stat is. It's crazy, like how many baseballs they go through during a game.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't.
No,
like,
it's insane.
Yeah, give us like it's a couple hundred, 300 or something like that. Like that they can. I don't know. That's wild, but that's pretty cool, man. That's a pretty cool story. I got to get a hold of those books and check them out. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
Email the FBI or something and try and get a hold of them.
When that order came in, it was just like the guy's name, and then it was like this building, a Federal Bureau of Investigation. I was like, holy shit.
That is awesome, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I got a good question for you here. Going back to your putters a little. Any interest in going into mallets, maybe?
Yeah, get that question asked like 6 or 17 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I don't know. Not like full mallets. We are designing a wide body right now.
Nice.
So that it's like I keep saying a couple months, but it's so tough to make something new with one machine and a bunch of orders still coming in, right?
Yeah, totally.
Everyone's like, well, why don't you just make one? But that's just not how machining works. You know, you've got to set something up and knock out like a decent amount to make it worth your time. And then the setup involved. It's like, I've got the machine set up for number 2s right now. That's the more popular model. And it's like, I just like to break it all down and change it up for like doing 1 or 2 mallets or 10 mallets or 20. It's just so much work. And then getting the material right now, it's just like, I'm working on it. It'll happen. Probably just a wide body, not right. You know, maybe a few months from now. Yeah. I'm trying to expand the shop.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If that means getting another machine, then that would be the best. Obviously, everyone, all these like CNC shops are going out of business, so machines are you can find some pretty cheap machines right now. But you know, my situation was a lot different because I didn't like take out a loan. I didn't get gifted $100,000 from my parents and got a machine in their basement or garage or whatever, like some other guys that are in this industry. Everything that I made, I put right back into the shop, right? I would sell a putter. I would try to buy new grips, or I'd buy some black shafts, or I'd buy some more material, or I'd buy a new machine or a new sanding wheel. You know, this stuff's expensive. It's like to do it's so funny because you're like, well, what would it really take for you to move into this shop or do something? You're like, oh, 10 grand, 20 grand. No, you need like 100 grand. And that's going to get spent like that. So, you know, it's been like, I have to kind of just work smart because I still have to support my family, right? You know, it's like when you live in Southern California, it's so funny to watch everybody talking about gas prices. Oh, gas is $4. And you're like, dude, it's been $4 for 2 years here in California. We're already at that. It's $6 here, $6.50.
Yeah, that's insane. It's $4.20 over here.
Yeah, I would love $4.20 right now. Like,
yeah, that's less than even what we're paying up here. We do it in liters up here, but it's getting a little a little high up here too. But real estate, everything's crazy up here. Like Toronto's you know, probably not far off of the California prices, right? It's pretty insane up this way.
I bought a new house in 2020, right? Well, like December 24th of 2019. And it's just gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you can make a bunch of money off it if you're Good luck trying to buy another one.
I go, let's sell it and go to like live in Vegas or something. I love Vegas. That's you know, I went to school in Arizona. I grew up going to the river out here. I love the heat. Like 110 degrees doesn't bother me at all. Anything below 55 or 60s, like I just can't. I hate the cold. So you get some cold desert nights. But I told my wife, I go, let's sell this house and pocket all this money and just go buy something in Vegas, which is they're expensive right now too, but they'll go down before Southern California does for sure.
Man, we just got more snow up here. It's tough. It's tough. I got into a sim last night at least, which was nice, but
I don't know how you guys do it. I didn't play for 2 weeks, and I finally played yesterday. I was like, God damn, I missed a week. You know, I didn't get to play last weekend. I was out of town.
I know.
Like 6 months.
I haven't swung a golf club in 5 months.
I feel old right now, and like,
I don't know how you do it.
But so
you go out and shoot 75s.
Yeah, you've got the number 1, 2, and 3. So I was looking at the website. You can kind of go on and like mock those up, and those are like the 3 blocks that you kind of work off of. So they're like the, you know, similar styles. Number 3 is like the Catalina style, right? So I believe,
right? Yeah, like an old Coronado or something.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So what's the process like? If somebody reaches out to you, you're just kind of asking them for specs, information, like what they're looking for, and then do you just kind of build it directly for them? Like, you obviously got to put it in the machine, you got to CNC it up and stuff, but you work like hand in hand with that client on it. Like, if I'm saying, hey Brandon, let's go and build a putter, and I kind of want to do this, like how do you kind of connect with your clients while you're building them?
It's very easy. Through the website, I have like a custom request form,
right?
And you can put everything you want in that form. You can, model, material, finish, neck type, shaft type, the stamping that you want, the milling that you want, all that stuff. So it's very easy to get it submitted. Once you get it submitted, Jaden, who works with me, will send you back, like a rundown of how it works, basically. We've gotten all these generic cues now because it's the same question over and over and over and over.
Right.
How much is this going to cost? That's everybody's concern. So, she'll say something like, well, the rundown is everything starts at $750 and then goes up from there, depending on what you want to do. Your, welded neck type, if you want plates in there, or, the brass cavities or the hand stamping, or, if you want something like super custom engraved, it keeps tacking on the price. I always tell people, because I get messages on Instagram every minute. I get a lot of people email. I say, just call me, call the shop. I'll talk to you one-on-one. There's nobody else. It's like I got one other guy here. So it's like, it's going to be me that you're talking to, and let's hammer it out. The problem is just filtering out all the guys that, I could go get a Scotty Cameron for $450. I can't believe you're going to charge me $800 for this. And it's like, they just have no concept of what it actually takes to build something. Right. So it's weeding out like that group before I get like fully involved into it.
Gotcha.
There's nothing more irritating to me than somebody committing to a sale. Like, oh yeah, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Okay, Brandon's going to design you up something then. And then I spend an hour or something like putting something together, and then we send them the bill, and then we never hear from them again. That's like the worst part, because, so I try to go through like a little screening process there before I get involved. But really the most of the people that contact us, they're ready to go. It's like, sometimes it's surprising. Hey, where do I send my money? Here, take it. Like, what do we got to do? Okay, hold on a second. Let's write you up. But yeah, if you have questions, because there's a lot of guys they don't know, I don't know what's the difference between a super flow and a flow neck, or a slant neck, or this and that. And it's just, well, let's talk about your stroke a little bit. You know what I mean? There's guys that say, I want something perfectly face balanced. Okay, well, let's get you in a center shaft, or a long neck, or a slant neck, or a super flow neck that's bent a certain way to get it balanced. Now, nobody has a perfectly straight back and straight through swing. It's just like physically impossible unless you have a 90-degree shaft and you're standing like right over top of the ball, right? Everything is complete. So, even if you feel like you're going straight back, unless you're one of these guys that goes way outside or something, you probably have a little microscopic arc. So when you do like a long neck, I always say, put 5 degrees of toe hang in there, dude, and I guarantee you're going to like it. Yeah. And
only one I can think of is like maybe Adam Scott with the big broomstick handle or something like that, going directly back. But I was looking through the page, and like my favorite one, my son's name's Jameson, so that's Jameson Swing Oil one. That one stood out to me right away.
That's for a buddy of mine.
Any piece that you've built, or something that you've built for that is your favorite piece? Like, I know that's a tough question. It's impossible, but
it is funny because it's just such an evolution of things. Like, I hadn't done any like cavity plates or anything until I did one for Frank Kramer, who's the morning host of 95.5 KLOS, the Heidi and Frank show. And so he's got a brand of cannabis called like Frankation. And so we're building a putter for him, and I'm like, oh, dude, let's do like a copper, because like all of his colors were like copper and like white and stuff. I'm like, let's do a copper cavity plate. We'll put his logo in there. Oh shit, let's cut out like the shape of his logo and put it on top of the cavity plate. It just kept building and building. And then when I gave him it, I was like, this is the best putter I've ever made. I freaking love it, Yeah. And it had a combination of hand stamping and engraving, like pot leaves all over it. It was cool.
That is really cool.
And then I make one that's like a brass plate that's hand hammered neck. And I'm like, this is the best one.
Yeah.
And then I made the Vegas putter.
It'll almost never end.
No. It doesn't, right? Because, like the Vegas putter was a really cool step into seeing like inserts and the cavity plate with the engraving. And I'm like, and that was literally just a guy that I played the Costa Mesa Open with. He's like, yeah, can you do something like a Vegas theme? And I was like, hell yeah, dude, let's try it out. And that's what I came up with. And then when people saw that, a guy emailed, he's like, can you do the same thing but for Texas? And so I hammered out that Texas one, and that Texas one even better than the Vegas one. And so from that Texas putter, 25 more orders of, okay, I want the Texas putter, but I don't want anything Houston on there. And then one of my buddies who moved to Texas, we're doing one for him where it's going to be like half Huntington Beach or half California, and then like, over to Texas, like a airplane. I haven't even decided yet. We're going to make it like, so, down the line, when we look at this, you can look back at this conversation. I'm thinking like some kind of airplane, like dots going from California to Texas on the bottom. So
you should do a beach into kind of like a desert kind of style.
It's like, that's what's so fun about being a designer is I can sit on the computer and grab all these elements and try to place them and see
it's
what
endless.
Works. Yeah. That's
so
the fun stuff. They take forever. A putter like that, everyone's like, what's something like that cost? And I'm like, that's like $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so much money? And I go, believe me, that's cheap for the amount of work I'm putting into, because not only is it machine time and then engraving time and then getting like inserts cut out, and it's all the graphic design time before that, and then converting that into a way that it can be engraved, and then lining it up on the putter, the right way where it's, looks the way I want it to look or my vision. So it's like, it's so much work, and the material cost on it. It's really, the same guy's going to complain about $1,000 for something like that, and then go spend $800 on a tailor-made carbon driver,
stealth driver. Yeah. That's just one quick one quick walkthrough at the Costco, right? Like,
and then he'll buy the new one in 6 months.
Yeah. These are like for anybody listening to, like, I'm sure most of the people kind of get the idea that these are probably like lifelong putters. Like they're works of art. Anybody who wants to check it out, go down below. I'm going to link the Instagram, the website, everything below. They're not just kind of like they're not your run of the mill putters, right? These are some of the best looking putters in the world, right?
Well, thank you. I think so. But you know what it is, and that's what's kind of rewarding about it, is I just did one for a guy that played in our AM tour. I think his father just passed away, and we did like his grandfather's signature, his signature, and his father's signature on the bottom.
Oh, that's so cool.
And at first I was like, and it was very plain. And at first I'm like, I'm not sure this is going to look good. But when I got done with it, it was so awesome looking. And for him, it's a wall hanger. You know what I mean? He called me up. He's like, I could have sent an email, but I just had to tell you in person that you just nailed this putter, and it's so special to me, and I'm going to treasure it forever. And then he ordered another one after that he's going to go game. He's going to go game that one now.
That's cool.
So you don't see mine, secondhand market very often, because a lot of them are so personal.
No one wants to give them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think they roll really nice. I mean, I rolled Scotties forever, and I rolled, Callaway stuff, and those guys know how to make putters, of course, but I was pleasantly surprised at how well I think my putters roll. And so aside from all the cool stamping and all that stuff, is they do genuinely roll nice. And it's like, everyone's like, well, I want a carbon head over 303 because I want it to be soft. And I'm like, my stock milling on a stainless head is so butter that it's like, I don't know how we did, but it's just, they roll really nice. So, if you're concerned about like not liking it, then just get something generic. Don't put your name on it or anything. Mm-hmm. Let me make something for you and then sell it. I mean, I see them selling, those real generic ones all the time, but just not at the volume you see like Scotty Cameron selling something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
With that Canadian conversion up here too, could probably make an absolute fortune on those things, man.
I've got Canada's like, I got so many Canadian clients.
Oh, I've heard, man. I've heard there's so many of us. Plus the lefty market, right? The lefty market is 30% of us up here are lefties, right? So
all lefties. I've done a lot of NHL guys.
That's cool, man.
A couple guys from the Ducks here in Anaheim. That was really cool. I did like 6 putters for Adam Henrique.
Nice.
He was getting married. We did like 6 putters for his groomsmen.
That's sweet.
That's so cool.
Josh Manson, you know, I met up with him a couple times. He fitted him. You know, it's fun. It's like, it's just one of those things where like, I was so surprised to see all these check marks emailing me all of a sudden. Right.
Yeah.
A lot of MLB guys, tons of baseball players, tons of NHL guys.
Are you a Ducks fan? Are you a Ducks fan?
You're not gonna like this, but I'm not a big hockey guy.
Yeah. What did he say?
You know, I it's not that I don't like hockey. I was so into baseball and golf growing up that those are like my sports. I've been to one. I think I've been to one, maybe 2 hockey games.
I was just gonna say, Mac, I got to get JD to get a putter from him. He's in Anaheim. My brother played with one of the Anaheim's defensemen, so
nice.
I'll definitely try to get him in contact with you.
Gotta get Trout to buy one. That would be. I imagine that would be kind of like that'd be up there.
Real moment.
Those are the guys. I have friends that are like, "Yo, I know Trout. I'll go drop one off at his door tomorrow." And so, I mean, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just, you know, it's like something like that, like one mention on Instagram. It's like followers go from 6,000 to like 50,000. Like that, right?
Yeah.
It's not like in concrete, but I've got like 2 very big name PGA guys that are going to get something from me.
Nice.
One doesn't know it's coming. So, you know, it might just go in the drawer or in the garage or whatever. But the other one could be a really big deal for my company completely. So
that'd be great, man.
You know, I'll update you guys in a month or 2 when that happens. But that's all it takes is somebody like that. Like if I got something in the hands of, you know, Ricky Fowler, you know, it's like, even though he's not on top right now, he posts about that one time. It's like, you know what I mean?
He's still a huge name in the golf world.
Yeah, we've had some of the like some of the Canadian Tour pros up here. Like a couple of weeks ago, we had Callum Davison. He was the PGA Tour Canada Player of the Year, cross-handed player, righty swing, lefty grip. Yeah, like some of those guys too. Like, you know, he'll probably be playing on tour one day as a cross-handed player, which is absolutely nuts. But he'll be playing in the Canadian Open up here. But like, you never know, man. If you connect with one of those guys and they just, it can happen, right? Like
we'll get there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at the end of the day. Like I have to remember that I've 2 years is all that's
exactly
in my background here.
Yeah.
And I think that the amount that I've grown in that time by myself, without any type of, you know, I don't pay for marketing or anything like that. You know, maybe I should, I don't know, but it's like we've grown pretty substantially in the last 2 years, and it'll happen. We just have to find the right guy. You know, maybe Brandon Matthews takes us on tour after he gets pissed at his 2-ball and wins with it. And then it's like, and then it's what's in the bag and it's listed there and you're like, holy crap, you know?
And then you're flooded with orders.
Well, because people would think it's some type of like custom putter that he put together. The story would be crazy, right? Like that'd be so awesome. We gotta, you gotta make something work out like that. Brandon, we got to have you back on, man. This was great. I know we got to wrap up here, but this was awesome. This is the most interesting man in the putter world right here. This is
I appreciate it.
Yeah, your story's absolutely crazy. I love it, man. We could chat all night, but why don't we do this again? I think this would be a lot of fun, and you know, maybe in a few months or at the, you know, halfway through the golf season or something, we'll get you back on. We'll have a chat, kind of see if some of these connections have come up and see who's rolling these things on tour. I think it's coming. I got a feeling, man.
I hope so. And anytime, I really enjoy these. It's I've never been one to be short of words. So sometimes I go back and watch and I go, oh, you're talking too much, dude. But
no, man. Hey, that's what a podcast is about. Yeah. No, it's best to have a guest that'll come on and chat a little bit, right? So I have plans to hopefully get down and see Chris at some point. I'll probably pick up Bryce on the way, and we won't be far from you. So maybe we'll put together a foursome or something. I think we'd have a good time, man.
I just played in Riverside County yesterday, so
yeah, that's where he's there all the time. That's cool, man. So if anybody, before we let you go, again, we're in conversation with Brandon Matthew. Thank you guys for hanging out so far. This was such a cool chat, man. You're like, the story's so interesting. I love it. We definitely got to do it again. But anybody wants to get a hold of you, where can they reach you?
Yeah, very easy. BrandonMatthew.com is the website. That's for any type of order inquiries. And then, you know, Instagram, it's just at Brandon Matthew Putters. And I always appreciate the follows because I want to look bigger than I am, you know.
Well, hey, and that translates directly to business too, right? So,
totally. Yeah,
you know, I don't know.
It's fun.
We've got I think 1,500, 1,600 followers, something like that. And, you know, more than, I don't know how that translates to podcast views, but like I was saying, YouTube's a new thing. So if you're checking this out or listening to it, go check out YouTube, because we have no idea what we're doing there. But yeah, the audio portion we get a lot of support on, which is really good. Great. So if you're listening, even if you're in the car, stop the car, or whatever it is, go down below. We're going to link the website, going to link the Instagram. Go over and just kind of scroll through and check out some of these putters, and think about getting one built up, because they're pretty amazing, man.
And the prices are only going up
too. I love the logo.
Yeah, thanks. A lot of consideration into it, believe it or not. It's like, it looks so simple, but yeah, I was like,
that's cool. I like it.
A couple of my friends have some like original ones, and they're like, I'm gonna hold on to this. This isn't even the real logo. So
yeah,
it's a lot of fun. But
some of the OGs or something. Yeah, but yeah, let's do this again, man. This was awesome.
Anytime.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, guys.
I don't tell nobody about my secrets. Keep it to myself, because nowadays they want to leak it. I don't even share it with my family.